Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be looking at one of the new HMH Heavy Metal Heroes tank, the Huntsman Centurion. And it's a tier 8 British premium medium, plays up to tier 10, and I've kind of got mixed feelings about it, to be honest. On the one hand, I like the Centurion tanks, and that's basically what this is. It's a fully upgraded Centurion 1 with a smaller engine and without the track plates or side skirts, whatever you'd prefer to call them. So it's got the Centurion 3 turret, it's got the, well, I'm assuming the upgraded tracks, and it's got the 20-pounder as well. It does have good terrain resistance, but it's got that smaller engine. Now, on the other hand, I feel like it's a bit of an idle reskin, to be honest. I mean, it is, it's a Centurion with a smaller engine, so yeah, I do kind of have mixed feelings about it. Although, at least you can't accuse it of sort of being paid to win or anything like that, because, well, it's a tech tree Centurion, but with a smaller engine, so it does have a bit of a disadvantage with the engine. It has received the speed buff, so it does have a top speed of around 50 kilometers an hour. But it does feel a bit sluggish on the uptake, definitely, and definitely going up hills. It doesn't feel quite as fast as a normal Centurion. When it gets going, it can maintain that speed over level ground, as no matter what the terrain type. But if you meet an incline, then you are going to slow down considerably. So you do have to adapt your playstyle slightly for those of you that are used to the normal Centurions, because you don't have that speed of acceleration to get away, so you will have to sort of pull back or start moving a bit sooner than you would in a normal Centurion. But let's have a quick look at the at the stats. Really, it's the 20-pounder Type A barrel, like I said before, 7.5 rounds a minute, 226 pen, 230 damage, 258 on your premium, again 230. And 42 280 on your HE rounds, 2.3 second aiming time, 0.33 accuracy, which is quite nice accuracy. That's exactly the same as a standard Centurion 1, fully upgraded, with the same gun. You get a 38-degree traverse on your hull, which I think is 2 degrees faster, but I'll go and have a look at that in a second. But that does kind of just make up for the lack of horsepower in the engine, because the engine does affect, you traverse a little bit as well. So yeah, it does kind of just make up for that a little bit. But you've still got the same 36-degree traverse on your turret and a very good view range of 400 meters. So it does have a decent view range to it. But then again, so does a standard Centurion. Let's just have a very quick look at the traverse, because I'm pretty sure it's 36 degrees a second. And it is, yes, so it does get that extra little bit. Now, other than that, and the fact that this will have a slightly increased camouflage rating or concealment rating because of the perma camo that's on it, yep, that's right, you cannot put camouflage on this. It is a permanent microdot, do they call it? Yeah, I think they do. Desert camo. It looks quite nice. I like the mantle cover that's on it, and the fact that the track plates aren't on it does make it look different. So I quite like the look of it, but then, like I say, I am kind of on the fence, because on the one hand I like Centurions, on the other hand I feel it's a bit idle, just a reskin of a tech tree tank and a bit of a smaller engine. I don't know, so yeah, I do have those mixed feelings. Now, equipment wise, I went for the vertical stabilizer, gun rammer and coated optics. I like to make use of the view range on this. They work very, very well in that supporting role and out spotting your enemies, because your hull armor isn't brilliant. Can be key in this, and it can really give you a boost to your XP as well. Supplies wise, it's 680 for your armor piercing, 4,400 for your APCR, and 170 for your HE. And consumables, well, I've just been very boring and just stuck the standard ones on this. Although we'll have a look at the engine, you might be able to get away without the fire extinguisher. Skills, well, this is the crew from my Centurion 7.1. It's a bit of a mix of skills, really, that's sort of gone up through a couple of varying lines. But, I mean, you want Sixth Sense, you want situational awareness to take advantage of that view range, Brothers in Arms, camouflage, repairs as well. I can't really think of much else other than that. I mean, it does have good terrain resistances, so whether you want to take advantage of that and maybe put off-road driving on there, I don't know. Maybe clutch braking just to improve the traverse anyway, but yeah, smooth ride possibly. But yeah, I mean, this plays basically like a standard Centurion, really, because that's what it is. So, you know, you can go hull down, but you've got to be careful on a flat because the angle part of your turret behind your mantle is quite weak. But when you're using your gun depression, it becomes a lot stronger. It does work very, very well on the ridge lines, and the decent flankers as well. They are good tanks, but this does suffer slightly with that smaller horsepower. You only get a 650 horsepower engine, which translates to 14.47 horsepower per ton, which is only slightly better than a stock Centurion 1. You do get that increased forward speed, though, of 50 kilometers an hour, which was buffed on the Centurions recently. 20 in reverse and a 20% chance of fire. Although it is quite a small engine, you expect it to take up the whole back of the tank, but it doesn't. It is quite a small block in there. 18 degrees on your elevation, which is a bit lower than a lot of tanks, but you do get -10 on your depression, which is why these excel on the ridge lines. It also increases the angle on the front of the tank as well. Tracks without the track plates, a few gaps at the top, but they are pretty solid. Turret on top. Radio just in the back and the overhang. Ammunition block is more or less in the same place, I think, although that one might be a slightly different shape. So through the front of the tank, on the right, as you're looking at it, try and hit the lower glacis, and there's a good chance you'll damage the ammo rack. It's quite an easy one, so if they are exposing a bit of that lower glacis, either by not hiding it or coming a bit too far up over a ridge, try and put one through it. Crew members, you've got the driver just down in the front left-hand side of the hull as we're looking at it, so it'll be on the right. 3 up in the turret, you've got the commander, the gunner, and the loader. Now, armour-wise, well, your basic figures are, when I can get it back on the right one, 152 on the front of the turret, 89 on the sides and the rear, and your hull is 76 on the front, 51 sides, 38 on the rear. Again, the same as normal Centurion. Oh, I did forget the bonuses though. They are 55% silver and 15% XP, so this can make quite a bit of silver, but it's not particularly good as a crew trainer with the lower crew XP bonus, although it will work as one because you still get the bonus. Concealment as well, 0.24 stationary, 0.19 on the move. Again, slightly better than the normal Centurion, and that's because of the perma camo. Now, 1 to 20 is the tracks. They will act as a portion of spaced armour. The engine deck falls into that, but not the front deck, and the hull floor as well. Now, don't forget, this doesn't have the track plates. They do act as a very small amount of spaced armour. It's not a lot, but it's still there, and it will protect your track. Well, it'll set HE off before it hits the hull of your tank, basically, by hitting the track plates. So, I've not particularly suffered, I don't think, for not having them, but it's just there at the back of my mind that I might do one day. So yeah, there is that. 21 to 30, that's your front deck, top of your commander's hatch, and the top of the turret. 31 to 50, that's the sloped part of the front of the turret. The sides of the tank itself, well, the full sides, the full rear of the tank, apart from that very small lower glacis there. And there is that small, that thin strip around the top. You can just see there, it's the angle part that leads up from the side to the top, and the underside of the overhang on the back of the turret. 71 to 90, upper and lower glacis. There could be quite a difference in thickness, they could be the same. I mean, the upper is supposed to be 76, so there can't be a huge difference between the upper and lower glacis, but it's still not particularly thick, and the lower is not overly well angled. The top, like I say, can be accentuated by using the gun depression on this to go, when I can talk, to good effect. The commander's hatch is in there, and as are the sides of the turret, the rear of the turret, and there are patches just all over the gun mantle. You can see there at the sides of the gun mantle. 91 to 120. You've got some thin strips down either side of the turret front there, almost on the cheeks of it. And there's a strip at the top and the bottom of the gun mantle. In fact, I didn't quite notice that before. That machine gun port on the gun mantle is slightly thinner on the sides, but not on the front. That one is in the thicker part of it, which I'm assuming is the 152, and that's the rest of the front of the turret and the rest of the gun mantle. These are all about sort of using that gun depression, like I say, increasing the angle on the top of that turret and on the upper glacis, and putting that gun mantle to work. It can be quite a trolly gun mantle. when you're coming up against one of these things. To be honest, if you've got the hull and everything, you're probably not going to struggle to penetrate the hull, so it's not so much a matter of looking for weak spots. If it is hull down, you're going to have to try and possibly go just either side of the gun mantle, or attempt to go for the machine gun port, maybe either side of it. It is slightly weaker there, or the commander's hatch if you can get to it. Otherwise, I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of tanks, especially tier 10s, that will probably just be able to go straight through the front of this, and that's when you want to be staying back and playing that support role. Now, I don't think there's anything else that I've missed or that I've failed to cover. Like I said, there's not a great deal to say about it that's different, because it is just essentially, well, a Centurion with a smaller engine. I think the Centurion regular gets about an 870 horsepower engine though. No, 750, so you are losing 100 horsepower, but it does seem to make quite a difference. It has been a while since I've been in the regular Centurion, but it really didn't feel as slow as this on the uptake. But anyway, let's get into the replays and see how it actually handles. Right, so here we are for the first of the replays. Now, I do apologise for the glitchiness in the garage. They were the issues that prevented this video from going up last night. I was having problems with the recording software and the capture card. I finally managed to mess about with some settings and got it sorted, but basically all the footage I got for this yesterday appeared normal while I was recording it, and then when I actually went to use it, it was, well, as you saw in the garage, it was glitchy, or it would freeze partway through. So have managed to sort it now. Didn't realise that the garage bit had done that at first, until again I came to sort of edit it together, and I thought I'd best check it. Should have done it earlier, but I just wanted to get this up now. And I said yesterday I didn't want to put it up, you know, without it being good. But I didn't, you know, I didn't think that in the garage bit, just a little bit of a flicker every now and again was an issue, because, you know, the game plays fine. So here it is today instead, on a Saturday, and I don't normally do one on a Saturday, but I wanted to get the Huntsman review out. Now, in the garage I did say that it was a little bit on the slow side, and, you know, it does suffer slightly. Now, I think I probably underestimated or undersold that a little bit. It really, that lower engine does kind of make it suffer tremendously on hills, as you just saw there. Going downhill when you get up to speed, you know, it's quite good. And I was on earlier, Lakeville, and I went around the back. Not many people did. I thought got good gun depression. Went around the back, and actually on all the swampy terrain around the back I was doing 35 to 40 kilometers an hour, so the terrain resistances are quite good. But that engine power does make a difference. It does make a difference to how you have to play this tank as well, because of, well, basically, you know, you're going to have to pull back sooner, and, you know, it can be a bit sluggish on your manoeuvrability sometimes. So those of you that have got a Centurion 1 in your garage and you're considering this, if you want to get an idea of the speed of it, if you basically make your Centurion stock again, or with the stock engine at least, jump in it, and that will give you an idea of, you know, how fast this is, or sort of how sluggish it is on the uptake. But as you can see, when you're going downhill, it's fine, and when you get up to speed again, it's fine. But I don't know. Somebody raised an interesting point with me on Twitter, saying sort of, you know, with the release of this, has it made the FE4202P redundant? And stats wise, if you look at the stats, it certainly looks like it may have. But the stats always, you know, they don't always tell the whole story, do they? Now, I do go a bit derpy here and kind of misread where these guys are and think, oh shit, yeah. So this nearly cost me, and that was just me being slightly careless. But I've used a couple of average games, I think, and what I've done, at the end is I've included pictures of the results screen from the games yesterday, because one of them was a tier 10 one, and I thought it might give you a bit of a better idea as to what this sort of can be capable of in your sort of average matches. Also, again, going on with the sort of the engine and the speed, Jack the Ripper, he raised a good point on Twitter yesterday, and I hope you don't mind me just using this, Jack. If you do, I apologise. But yeah, I don't think you'll mind. I'll make that call. Anyway, yeah, he was saying that it's basically, this is to put it into perspective, it has a lower power to weight ratio than the Excelsior, the T57, the Conqueror, the VK45A, the T10, T14, the M103, IS7, IS, and the T110E5. So that gives you an idea of its power to weight ratio. Now, back to what I was saying in the garage about kind of being on the fence of it. Well, on the fence of it, on the fence with it a little bit. I don't know, it's difficult to see the point of it in a way. I don't know, like I say, you know, on the one hand, I like the Centurion tanks. I don't go in them very often because I did well, when the FE4202 was becoming the FE4202P, I tried to grind out to it, and I think I went from like the Cromwell to the Centurion 7.1 in about 3 days, so I sort of overdosed on Centurions, which sounds incredibly wrong, so I'm just going to glaze over that and move on. But yeah, so you know, that's why I don't go in it particularly often, although I have been going in it a bit more recently, especially with the top speed upgrade, because that was my only real sort of gripe with the Centurions, was the limited top speed. I mean, obviously they've not got the best hull armor or whatever, but you know, they're good at what they do. You know, it's that sort of thing. But yeah, that was my main gripe. Obviously I'd loved it to have awesome hull armor as well, but then it'd be overpowered. But yeah, it was just the top speed. That was the sort of gripe. Now, at this point, this is where it, well, you'll see in a minute anyway. One of them does pop up on my right a little bit unexpectedly. There he is. Completely missed the first shot. Luckily, his bounces from the T95E2, and I'm going to reload first, just. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I am very, very on the fence. Like I say, I like the Centurions, but I kind of don't see the point in this because it is just a reskin of a Centurion 7, not 7, a Centurion 1. So, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know. I just, like I said, I just kind of don't see the point in it, and it's not a bad tank. You know, yes, the power to weight ratio and the acceleration is brilliant. I just tried to get into cover there and just, yeah, it didn't work. Not much else I could have done really. I was kind of out in the open. But I don't know anyway. It's up to you to make up your mind. I'm just here to sort of give you my thoughts and opinions on it. I don't think it's one that I'm going to be picking up, possibly. Yeah, I don't think it is, to be honest. It's not one that I'm gonna buy. I think if I wanted it, I'd probably just get the Centurion 1 back, because it's faster. But I know I don't get the bonuses on it, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, like I say, I'm just here to try and give you my thoughts, my opinions, sort of show you what the tank can and can't do, tell you a bit about it, and then it's up to you to make up your mind about buying it or not. But I don't know. I don't know if I mentioned it in the garage. I can't actually remember now. But you know, I was on about the other heavy metal hero tanks. You know, with the Super Bert. Yeah, it was kind of like a bigger Bert. So we've got a Bert at tier 6, but it got a different gun, and it's a tier 8 arty. You know, premium arty. It was something new. We've not got any tier 8 premium arties before. The ISU 130, yes, it is, you know, the ISU 152 hull, but it was the 130mm gun again. You know, it's new. It wasn't just a reskin. Same with the Super Sherman. Yeah, it was a Sherman hull, but this was a tier 8 with a 105mm gun. And I know people say, well, obviously there's the Revelorized, but we don't have that on console. So to us on console, it was a new tank. But with this, it is just a Centurion. Now with this one, was it a tier 9? Yeah, I think it's a tier 9 match. One of the results at the end is a tier 10, the first one I think, and the second one I think was a tier 8, and it was just to give you, you know, like I say, a better idea of what it can do by giving you more results, you know, showing you a sort of a bigger sample. But with this one, my gameplay isn't exceptional in it. I don't do a lot of damage myself, but I've used this one to show you what I was saying about the view range on it. It's got a good view range. Just like the Tech Tree one, 400 meters, and then with the coated optics instead of the vents, and situational awareness on there as well. And I think Brothers in Arms might even increase view range slightly because it increases crew skills. I can't quite remember how that works now. I'll have to look at that. But anyway, yeah, with the the coated optics, 400 meter view range, situational awareness, I get quite a bit of spotting assisted in this one, and that is very useful, especially in tier 10 matches, because a lot of tier 10s have a very good view range, so you really need to try and outspot them and get around on their flank. Because the pen on this gun isn't bad, it's the 20 pounder is a decent gun on a medium tank. Not so much on a heavy, but yeah, it's a decent gun on a medium tank. I think the Carnarvon doesn't get the 20 pounder type B, I think, with a faster rate of fire. And it's not bad on the Carnarvon, but it's not a heavy tank gun. Now I managed to hit the weak spot on the IS-3 down there. I'm taking a bounce off the turret. And that's when the turret on this is at its strongest, when you're using the gun depression. Because the sort of front part of the top of the turret is quite weak. Now that, I think, went through the turret cheek just to the side of the gun mantle. Or it may have gone through the machine gun port on the gun mantle, but I'm not quite sure. And I take a hit from... Oh, was it the CDC that was down there before, or was that a different match I'm thinking of? That might be one of the ones I was going to use yesterday, I can't quite remember. Now, the guys that have come up here from the enemy team are dealt with. I've not done a lot of damage myself, but I've started getting a few assists, and this is where I'm going to push forward. I've got that good view range. Hopefully I should be able to outspot anything that's across there. But I've just swept across, moving down gradually, and I'm going to get behind these buildings and see if I can spot anything on the other side near the cap. There was a T-28 that put a shot into me from over there somewhere. And there we go, I've just spotted the T-95. Nope, T-26E4, sorry. So my preview window is quite small, so I might make the odd mistake with tank identification, even though I did that with a large preview screen. Now I'm going to have to check this one out as well, but hopefully there'll be no glitches in the actual gameplay. And if there are, then I think I'm going to have to get a different capture card and get this one sent back. Now I managed to get one hit into the T-28. I think he was pointing towards the town where the enemy team are coming through. Those guys that were up on the hill with me, they're following down. They're the ones that basically have got me my spotting damage. I've gone in, spotted him, and they took down that super Pershing. I don't think no, it wasn't me that spotted the T-28. And now it's just a case of trying to get up the hill and do a little bit more damage for myself, to be honest. And this is where that lack of power to weight ratio really can hurt you sometimes. And that's like trying to keep up if you're on a map where the enemies are over hills, etc. Sort of on the other side, you're going to struggle to get up those hills before some of the other people. I mean, I know you will in other tanks, but you wouldn't normally so much in the Centurion. But it does, yeah, it does feel a bit sluggish up until about maybe 35-40 kk. Managed to get a hit on the RT. I think I'm pretty sure he's just fired, so I took the risk just to sit and put that last shot into him. And there you go. Like I say, not a brilliant game damage-wise myself. I use that more just to sort of demonstrate the coated optics with the situational awareness, how it can just boost up your XP at the end of the match. Or, well, not the end of the match, but you know what I mean, how it can just boost your XP through the match. But it's, came out of that with 123,000 silver. Some of that may have come from that up, yeah, I got 25% extra. But it is, it's a decent silver earner. I don't know, unless you really, really like the Centurions and want a premium one to earn extra silver in, I don't know. But even then, I don't know, it's that engine. But anyway, it's not up to me, it's up to you. You've heard my thoughts and opinions on it. But, yeah, I can't say I didn't earn money in it. And like I say, I can't say it's a bad tank. It's more the concept of it, I think, with it just being a reskin of the Tech Tree one. But yeah, there you go anyway. But here's that tier 10 match. Managed to come top in that one, which was quite nice. It's a shame that I can't actually show you the match. You know, it wasn't too bad. A couple of interesting moments in it as well. And this one I think was a tier 8 match. But there you go. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. I will be back tomorrow with another video. So until then, take care out there, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.